Hi, I'm Reverend Zach.
And I'm Frank-cis.
And welcome to This Movie Was a Hot Dog, a podcast where me and my brother over here, Frank-cis, watch a bad movie critically, financially, or otherwise. Then we review it, break it down, and tell you what we think. First of all, welcome back. Yay, we're back from summer break.
Yeah, it's been a little while, but good to be back.
It's been a little while. In retrospect, I probably should have told everybody that we were going to take some time off, but it was good. We both had some minor injuries, some minor surgeries.
Yeah, I had a surgery
and I had an injury, so it was a hell of a break, I'll tell you that. But boy, oh boy, are we back in it with 2005's Double Down, written, directed, produced, and nearly only starring Neil Breen.
Catered as well.
I'm sure it was.
It's in the credits.
I could find absolutely nothing about this movie. I don't know anything about it. I don't know how much it cost. I don't know if it was released theatrically. I don't know who this man is.
They have a DVD. I saw that. Yeah.
That's not hard to do.
Well, you can purchase it on Amazon.
All I could find is that this guy, Neil Breen, he makes a living as an architect in Vegas.
Oh.
And he funds these movies from the money he makes from that. That's all I was able to find out about him. Like, that was it. This is one of 4 movies he's made.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Or the other ones, have any of them done well at all?
I
don't know.
I seriously doubt that, man.
Okay, I don't know.
But I'm kind of curious to see them now.
I am not.
So, speaking of that, Francis, what do you think this movie was about?
Well, I thought at first I thought it was going to be a normal movie, but with a strange intro to it. But it turns out the whole movie is the intro. It's just like a journal entry, maybe.
It's like a bizarre. It's so strange because there are times where you can tell he's trying to make like an artsy kind of flick, but then at the same time he's also trying to make like a political spy thriller,
as well as like some sort of like awareness to mental health. I don't know.
So everyone's gonna have to bear with us because this movie is all over the goddamn place.
I couldn't really. I understood the macro part of the plot.
See, I don't know that even.
Okay, yeah, but when things went from scene to scene, I was just like, I don't know.
Well, okay, so it opens with Neil Breen in the desert. Get used to that.
That's all the movie is.
For everybody, Neil Breen, he looks like someone's dad. He's wearing, like, throughout most of this movie, he's wearing a black tank top, jeans, and he has the skinniest, palest arms I've ever seen in my life. If a man ever needed sleeves, it's this guy. He's trying to portray himself as like this gung-ho, can do anything spy, but he doesn't even look like he can open up a jar.
It's just like he's like, I'm famous for all this stuff, and we'll go into that, I'm sure, because I wrote down a couple of the things, the 5 million things that he can do.
Also, he's supposed to be living in the desert. He should have tanned for this.
He's like some sort of military expert dude, and he's just like, I'm a normal guy that can barely get up and down these rocks.
There proceeds to be a voiceover with expositionary dialogue. And this is where you'd think that we're going to do this for 3 minutes and then the movie's going to start, right? He does this for what, an hour?
Oh, I'd say out of the movie is an hour and 33 minutes, an hour and 20 of it is at least.
Well, I don't even just mean how long he does it in general. Like, how long does he speak before another person is even on the screen?
I don't know, at least a half hour.
So he says he was number 1, quote, at college.
Number 1? You mean, valedictorian?
Or just, like, it's a movie. You're lying, right?
Yeah.
Like, name a school.
Yale, Harvard, anything.
I'm number 1, quote, at college. He joined the military and became a fighter pilot where he got, quote, many medals for his service. Then so immediately after that he goes, I've always lived my life between this world and the other. No, you didn't. You were part of the system for, like, the first part of your career.
What, are we talking about Eternia here, or what?
Well, that's the thing. At first, you think, like, okay, that line means, oh, I'm underground, but I also have, like, I'm also on the grid partially. But later, that might mean that he's, like, maybe, like, in touch with ghosts or something.
Well, at this point, you don't know that it just started. I mean, yeah, you no clue.
So,
and you also think he's going to stop talking.
Wouldn't that be something? And then he says, now he's a covert agent and a mercenary. So I guess that's after he was a fighter pilot. Then he tells us that he met the love of his life at age 7, and they will be getting married soon. Even though this dude looks like he's 55 years old, what the fuck took so long?
Just been, that 40-something year engagement.
If you guys have been in love since you're 7 years old, like, why does, like, he looks like our dad.
Oh my god. Did he?
He's so old looking.
Talked about his excellence in computers yet? That's my favorite.
Oh, we're not there yet.
Oh, I hope we get there soon.
So he says he joined the CIA after he was a fighter pilot, but I guess before he was a mercenary, to stop terrorism, and became their best agent. Then he says he invented a way to control any computer, and the CIA got scared of that and killed his fiancée, even though in the opening speech he said that they were going to get married. This whole thing is out of order. Like, it's as if he's reading this speech out of order. His personal timeline's all over the place. I'm confused at minute 4.
Then maybe, again, is this supposed to be a psychological thriller? I don't...
Also, he says he invented a way to control any computer. That already exists. It's called hacking. People have been doing that since computers have been around.
Yeah, this is not a new thing in 2005. I mean, the internet had been around for a while at that point. It's not...
Also, let's say he is just walking around the desert of Nevada while sitting on rocks, typing on laptops and cell phones. That's how he's, like, staying on the grid.
Flip phones.
I was going to say, these aren't smartphones, and they're flip phones, and the laptops are from, like, 1999. Also, he does a terrible job. You see multiple times him typing on a laptop with no power on it. The screen is just dead.
And he's just pecking random keys. He loves to look at the satellites while he's typing for no apparent reason. These
must be the cheapest props he could afford. Like, that must be why he has them. So he says even though he's on the run, he's still in control of an NSA satellite? Or what did you say it was called?
Oh, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency?
Whatever that is.
The National Geospatial. I had to rewind it twice to get that.
So he is controlling the satellite from 5, and he says several times that they are specifically 5 laptops. 5 laptops in the back of an old Buick, and he is controlling the most powerful satellite in the world, something.
Well, they can't come and get him either.
Well, yeah. While he's doing all this, there's B-roll of a car driving by, and there's a human skull on the side of the road.
More on that later.
Well, but I mean, this isn't like when that happens later. Like, this is just... It seems to be positing that Nevada is just littered with human bones.
Right out of Vegas, I guess.
So he says he's been making millions of dollars every year as a mercenary, but he gives all that money away to orphanages and charities.
Yeah.
That's never brought up again.
Yeah, and victims of natural disasters. And I love it was like Katrina.
Was he trying to say
There's like a political message there? I don't know. And then I wondered,
But that never comes up again.
Just one, he just mentions it the one time.
So his latest job, the one that I think this is what the movie's about.
This is the macro of the movie.
I think the movie's about he's going to shut down the Vegas Strip for 2 months.
That's
which frankly would be impossible. You could never do that. Then he says he's got biomechanical implants.
Yeah.
Do you remember this shit where he
bioelectromedical implants to assist him in carrying out his attacks?
That never comes up ever again. He says he has like robot eyes so that he can be a better agent. Then there's some stock footage of an eyeball surgery.
There's a lot of stock footage in this film.
Oh, 30% of this movie is stock footage. 30% of it is just like trees. Then there's just water. Then there's people dancing. Then there's a fire. Then there's a plane taking off and a plane landing. Then there's a car going by. Then there's another tree. It's just free stock footage he was able to find makes up probably 20 minutes of this movie.
I don't. And so after a while, I was like, okay, well, I said, let me really pay attention and see if the stock footage that's playing while he's talking is about what he's talking, and it never is.
He is just droning on and on. It's like, and then I got into the, and I became a fighter pilot.
And I'm the best computer person, if you didn't know that I was the best computer person ever.
I do everything with these 5 laptops. Also, I have robot eyeballs.
And I do nothing but eat tuna.
Oh, that's the next thing he says. Oh, wait. So, no. We got to stay in order here.
What order?
So he has the robot eyes. Then he says in his spare time he kills white-collar criminals because they got away with stealing money. Again, that never comes up.
Well, it does. The fields in Nevada are filled with their bodies, apparently.
At this point, this seems like a really sad way that an out-of-shape 55-year-old man is trying to live out some childlike fantasy. Next, where he says all he does is eat tuna out of the can. That's literally the only food he eats. We see a man driving a car, eating tuna out of the can, then he spills tuna on himself.
Yeah, but
this is one of the first images we see of this supposedly insanely powerful character this guy created.
And he can't eat tuna while he's driving.
He's eating cat food and spilling it on himself.
Cat food.
Well, it's just like it's not even like nice tuna. It's like cheap ass tuna.
I mean, I do like tuna, but geez, like all the time too. Like, I'm just gonna live off this in the and that's not helping you in the desert.
And his trunk is filled with hundreds of empty tuna cans.
Well, you just throw them on the ground. He's throwing bodies out. I mean,
and burying them from all those white-collar criminals he's killing in his spare time or whatever.
Gosh.
So he just keeps talking. He's talking and talking. So he parks his car, and he pulls out 3 DirecTV satellite dishes from the trunk of his car, which he pretends to hook up.
Yes, he doesn't even, like, put the wrench on the bolt. He's just like, clank, clank, clank.
He just, like, waves a wrench around these things to, like, simulate hooking them up.
Man, it's so stupid.
And this is how he controls the world, through these 3 satellite dishes for a TV and 5 1999 laptops. He says he says he planted biological bombs in 7 major cities and told the government about that so it would prevent them from killing him. But then he says he told every news organization on the earth, so the whole world knows.
Yet he's living alone in the desert.
That is insane.
We kind of skipped something too. Why can't they kill him as well?
Well, we didn't skip that. That didn't come up.
Really?
Yet.
Oh my! Well, I'm sorry.
I've got it in order, man.
Everything just meshes together. No,
but he says that the whole world now knows. Why? What?
Oh yeah, no one's panicking.
Not only is no one panicking, but he's like, I'm in complete secret. I can like move around whenever I want, and no one knows I'm here except everyone knows who I am. So then a guy walks up to his car with a gun, but falls down dead because apparently he also has some sort of magic force field around his 590s laptops in the back of his shitty Buick that if anybody but him goes up to, their head explodes.
Why doesn't he get affected?
Like, in the first 10 minutes, they bring up a myriad of things that never play into the actual movie. The robot eyeballs, the force field around his car, none of this shit ever gets brought up again. Why is it here? Why does this movie exist? Then there's that one. Then there's the first of several weird artsy shots. Keep in mind, we're still in a voiceover where he goes, "Where are you? Where am I? You are me." And then there's like a little boy standing in a field,
which I believe is supposed to be him.
Well, we'll find that out later. But when I first saw that, I was like, oh, whatever. This too, sure. So then he dumps poison into a pond to test it before he pours it into Lake Mead, which he never does. And then, so he pours it into this lake, and then like a bunch of like frozen fish they bought at the grocery store appear dead on the
they just throw them in the shoreline.
And then he looks down, he's like, oh, the fish are dead, this poison's working.
Why the scenes are so... None of this, 90% of the scenes are useless.
Then he descends down a rock wall where he pulls out a 25-year-old laptop from underneath the rock. I don't know why. He never uses it. Then there is another weird shot of kids playing on a playground, intercut with him and his dead girlfriend in a field. And it's so poorly edited, I wasn't sure what was stock footage, what we were supposed to be seeing, because those kids aren't the same kids we see later. They're just random kids. Was it stock footage that they just threw in?
It could be.
Like, I don't know. So keep in mind, there's still the voiceover narration going on. So cut to his dumb car with all of his old electronics. Another person shows up next to his car, but isn't killed by the magic force field for some reason.
Yeah.
And just like walks around. Then there is stock footage of computers, and there's still a voiceover. And at this point, like, I think we're getting close to, like, 15, 20 minutes in. I'm going, like, is there even a movie here?
No, that's it. It's just, that's the rest of the movie is him talking.
Then there is the weirdest flashback of him and his dead girlfriend at a public hotel pool. Because the establishing shot is a hotel.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
The establishing shot is a hotel and a pool with people in it. But then we cut to him and his girlfriend, and they're naked.
Yeah, and it's you can, I don't know if it's meant like, oh, the water will cover the bottom of him up. You can see it straight through the water.
Oh yeah, you can see his penis in this, which is really unfortunate. Also, he's like 30 years older than this girl is.
I guess
like,
I was so fed up with what was going on, I didn't even care about their age.
He's like, but the thing is though,
but they've been dating for 40 years.
That's it. That's what I was just gonna say. Like, if you're going to have the older guy be in love with the younger woman, whatever. It's a cliche, it's stupid, but sure. But don't tell me that they're the same age. She looks like she's 28, and he's like 59 years old.
He's the same age back then as he is now, too.
Back then, we were both 7, and now I'm 55, and she's 30. Then... So after there's a weird conversation where we see his penis just awkwardly floating in the water.
Oh, man.
Then she gets shot in the back, like he already told us, so I don't know why we have to actually see it this time. Then her dead body's floating in the water. He does, like, sad acting for 2 minutes.
No.
And he's got, like, an orchid covered in blood.
No.
Then he goes over to her body and
does
lays
the dead
down
man float with her
next to her. And that's when we can see his balls floating up from between his legs.
Oh, jeez.
Like, why do we see this guy's balls?
And I just love how he's like, she's dead. I'll just do the dead man float with her to be in
then
something.
He wakes up from that dream, and we're still having a voiceover. He changes his license plate and says, I have to constantly change my identity.
That doesn't
change
your identity.
What?
That doesn't change your identity.
Well, not only that, every news agency, world leader, and members of the CIA know who he is.
Yeah.
So
seems like you're doing a lot of extra work for nothing.
So now he's in Las Vegas, 25 minutes into the movie, and I think it's finally going to start. Like, that's how I feel.
Yes,
because
again.
now we're in a different location.
Guess again.
Yeah, it doesn't. So he walks up to another person, and all I can think is, hooray! There's finally going to be dialogue from another person that isn't Neil Breen droning on and on. And then 2 things immediately go wrong. One, I'm not even sure they're in the same location because it's filmed at such a low angle that it shows nothing around them but their upper bodies. and it's only them.
Yeah, I don't think they moved. I don't think they moved at all.
I don't. Not only do I not think they moved, they could be in completely different countries. They're never interacting with each other.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they're not standing side by side.
No, it's just it cuts to a static shot of Neil Breen talking and talking, then it cuts to a static shot of this other person not talking because, God forbid, somebody other than Neil Breen talks in this movie. And it's filmed right next to a road, so there's constant, like, car horn.
Oh, you can hear it, too, yeah. And people are like, hey, a movie.
And, like, constant, like, whirring of traffic. Like, the whole scene is 40% of the audio is just from cars driving by.
Why would you at least go a little bit into the desert? Or I don't know if they had permission. I don't know, where they did this.
I think that's what it was, because it's a Las Vegas landmark. Forgive me, I don't remember what it was. But they film him from like 30 yards away. They film him walking up to this guy 30 yards away. Then when they have the conversation, it's cut to those static shots.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure they just filmed him walking up, and they were just pretending that they were tourists taking a picture.
Right.
And then later on, they filmed the actual movie part.
Right. So they probably didn't have permission.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
So this guy is telling him that he needs Neil Breen to kill a guy who will do a terrorist attack. Neil Breen drones on about biochemical warfare for like 2 whole minutes.
Well, does that surprise you at this point?
The droning on and on doesn't surprise me, but it's weird when he gets into these tangents about very specific things.
Yeah, like he's trying to send a message, but not in the film. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's using the film as a message, maybe? I don't know.
But sometimes it is message stuff, like with the Katrina thing, whatever that was. But then other times he's just talking about how cool computers are.
So I don't understand. I thought his mission was to destroy, like, the Vegas Strip for 2 months.
Yeah, but now he has to stop a guy from doing a terrorist attack in Vegas because they say this virus will kill half the Las Vegas Strip in 2 weeks. And all I can think is, that seems really slow and honestly not that bad.
Yeah, you think, a couple people, like a bunch of people get sick, everyone's going to leave? I don't know.
Right, and if it takes 2 weeks, like that, like people can like get help by then. I'm like, that really seems not like a big deal. I don't think he has to do anything about it. Just like call a doctor.
The movie doesn't care about this plot point, it seems.
Well, but is this, because this later, I don't know which one's the main plot. So then we have like 5 minutes of just stock footage of Las Vegas. Now he is back in the desert. And I was like, no, we just got to another place. We were in the desert for 25 minutes. We finally talked to another guy. We have a 2-minute conversation, and now we're back in the fucking desert.
Oh, my gosh.
So he's just wandering with a gun. He sees an old man sitting on a rock. The old man slips on the rock and hits his head and is dying. Neil Breen walks up to him, and the old man gives him a magic rock and says, "You're the chosen one," or something.
And I love it. His head is bleeding. Then Neil Breen picks him up, and his head is okay.
his head is not bleeding anymore.
There's a lot of points where they go. They're filming a still shot in this movie, and they'll be like, "Okay, well, we don't want to. We're gonna cut. Do half the scene here, and then we're gonna film the rest after." So they have the camera on a tripod, and they'll hit stop. And then they'll just be like, hit record, and you can watch the clouds move on their own.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they just disappear from here, and then there's clouds in another area a second later.
So this man dies. Neil Breen then buries him in the smallest grave I've ever seen.
It's just rocks around him.
It's just rocks, but the footage of the burial is intercut with the footage of a bald eagle. And at that point, I'm like, what is this supposed to mean?
Magic.
Does this mean something? Is this an American symbol? Like, is this symbolic of something?
Yeah, getting a magic rock from an old guy in the desert and burying him.
But why is the bald eagle there?
America.
So, also, right after we were talking to the guy in Vegas, like that was an actual conversation. After that ended, we went immediately back to voiceover.
He's like, all right, that's enough plot. We need to go back to me talking.
It was almost like, all right, well, it's enough of that guy talking. Now listen to me again.
I didn't even realize it was him. I guess we were gonna watch this, I didn't realize that he directed it as well.
We did everything.
Yeah, and then the credits came at the end. I'm like, wow, his name comes up a lot.
Hell, this is a half an hour into the movie, and nothing has happened. We've literally met one other character who didn't even get a name, and I'm not even sure what the plot is. So then, all of a sudden, he's kneeling in a lake, and his dead parents, who are angels or something,
I think,
show up and tell him that heaven exists, and then they touch his hand and they walk away.
And that's never expanded upon.
Now the most ridiculous cut of the movie happens. We smash cut to a suburban house where he is inside at a dinner table having a conversation with a family. Who the fuck are these people?
Yeah, is this his on the grid life?
They just pop in, and I'm like thinking the same thing. Oh, is this his on the grid life? They're not his family. They never say who they are. They never even get names.
And I just love how he asks for the water.
Oh, yes. This is brilliant. So at this table, it's him, a really old lady, and like a young dude and a little girl. He takes this glass of water, shoves it in front of the little girl, asks for water. Keep in mind, the glass is already filled with water.
Full.
It's completely full of water. And I'm like, what? He shoves it in this little girl's face. He's like, I need some more water. Then the little girl looks at her grandma and asks permission to get up and get water. It was as if an alien wrote this.
Can I get it, Grandma? Yeah.
Yes. Can I get water?
Of course.
There's a lot of that, saying the same thing twice. And there was one where he's like, yes, I got your directions. The GPS directions. So while this little girl is out putting water in this already full water glass, the dad's like, oh yeah, by the way, she has brain cancer.
Oh no.
And his reaction is the same thing you'd say if, like, you had to put your cat down.
What I just said. He was like, oh no.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyway,
no, our daughter has brain cancer. Maybe that's why she couldn't tell that there was already water in this water glass.
Oh, no.
So then she comes back.
Oh, everyone act normal.
Sits at the table, and then he uses the magic rock to cure her brain cancer. What? What? All of a sudden, this is in the movie. Now at this point, I'm like, is this a religious movie too?
Why?
But,
well, and I love you're always, whenever we talk about any kind of TV series or any kind of movie or anything like that, your first question when things start getting weird, you're like, so there's magic in this? Or is
exactly. Because we can't have this movie for 30 minutes, which is like an espionage something. And then all of a sudden, there's magic now.
Like, so Lord of the Rings or not.
So there's the angels and the guy in the old man that died saying, like, you're the chosen one or whatever. So at this point, I'm like, oh, now it's going to be like a weird religious journey film?
But it doesn't.
No, and this magic rock never comes into play.
He never uses
again.
it ever again.
Ever again.
But he carries it around. They make sure to show it to you.
Which is why I'm like, okay, this rock is going to save the day somehow?
But yeah, again, it's just there. Like, they make sure you see it, but they also make sure that he doesn't actually use it.
Or it's never explained. Like, who is the old man? But anyway, so then we have another weird dream / flashback with this old man and his girlfriend. Then we just jump right back into the terrorist plot. Girl's cured of cancer. Here's my dead girlfriend. Oh, yeah, terrorism again. And this is not a joke. I genuinely don't know what this movie is about at this point.
And then at some point I'm like, is he I mean, he's fighting terrorists, but he's kind of a terrorist himself.
Yeah, because so then there's a anthrax deal at an airport, but we don't see people's faces. So I don't know if he's one of them, even though he's talking the whole time.
Yeah.
Then he meets people in a parking lot where a woman is filming him and another woman bugs his car.
What I don't understand is, who's the woman filming him? Like,
who's the woman bugging his car? Who's the men he's speaking with? Who's he?
And why does the woman filming get shot for no reason?
who shoots her?
They never tell you.
She just gets shot in the head and she's dead. So then they tell him that they want him to kill someone for some reason. And now I'm like, what happened to the terrorist attack? What happened to him shutting down the Strip for 2 weeks? Why is this in here now?
This is a side quest.
What about the magic rock and the angels in the lake? How is this all connected?
There's no logic in this place.
But this is another one where they literally double down on what they're saying, where he goes, we want you to assassinate someone. We want someone killed. Yeah, I know what assassinate means, Neil Breen. Thank you. But he's so smart, he noticed that they put the bug on his car. He takes it off. Then I have no idea what this next part is.
This the marriage thing?
Yeah. I don't understand this.
I think what
genuinely.
was supposed to happen was...
Well, let's explain it first,
okay.
What happened.
Yes, that's a good idea.
So he goes to a fancy restaurant and bribes a valet attendant to borrow someone's Lincoln Town car or whatever, then so that he can pretend to be a limo driver, pick up a newlywed couple at a little Vegas chapel, then drug them with strawberries. They both get knocked out in the back of this car. He puts the dude in the trunk, but the girl wakes up literally seconds later and has no idea where she is. Then he starts saying, like, oh, we got married. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing here now? Now he gets a call saying you picked up the wrong couple. So then he takes the dude out of the trunk, lays him on the ground, takes her out of the back of the car, and lays her on the ground, even though she's alive and can talk still.
And he's dead.
And he's dead, so she just lays there and says nothing. So he gets back in this Lincoln Town car that he's, like, borrowing.
Remember, he's like, I'll be back in an hour with it.
I'll be back in an hour. He drives to the lake where the angels were. The original couple he was supposed to pick up is sitting there, and then he sees that they've already been shot.
I thought he shot him.
No, they're already dead when he gets there.
Maybe this was the people he was supposed to kill that the people in the parking lot told him to kill?
But, one, why are they already dead? Two, why was his plan so needlessly complicated? Why was he trying to convince the other woman that they were married?
Maybe he was like, oh, well...
Especially when at the end, when he realized he fucked up, he was just, oh, well, I better go simple this time and just shoot them. Why wasn't that his plan in the first place? Why did we have to pretend to be a limo driver? And if he was going to pretend to be a limo driver, why did he borrow somebody else's car, rent the fucking limo?
Even though everyone knows who he is.
And right, it's like, this is mind-boggling.
Oh my gosh, this is one...
This plan is so complicated. Was this the assassination, or was this a weird third thing we don't know about? What about the terrorist attack? What is happening?
I mean,
I don't. So then we have another dream sequence. Then we have another dream sequence with the girl. We have those a lot.
Yes,
we cut back to Vegas, like the actual Vegas Strip. This is another scene they didn't have permission to film because, again, they're filming him like 30 yards away.
Yeah, and then there's like, there's like the Trump building and Taj Mahal and all this stuff.
He's wearing a white surgical glove, and he passes by somebody and, like, rubs a handful of talcum powder on a guy's arm.
Is it supposed to be anthrax?
Right, and he walks away saying, my terrorist attack was successful. That guy will be dead in 5 minutes.
Yeah, but that's one guy.
But I'm like, wait, so is this the shutting down the Strip thing? But also, aren't you stopping a terrorist attack on Vegas with a virus? Why did you just release your own? And I'm thinking, like, okay, this is where it's going to kick off and a lot of people are going to start dying. But I guess he just killed that guy for fun?
And then we don't even know if that guy died.
We don't even know who that is. That's just a random dude.
Some guy on the street. Yeah, it never pans out like anything in the movie.
So then he calls a prostitute on the phone to set up something. Then he steals a Ferrari.
Yeah, because when he goes in to let you know how awesome he is at being able to steal that Ferrari.
Oh, yeah, because he can steal any car in the world.
With all these newfangled electronic starters.
And so I'm like, oh, because at this point, after I saw the anthrax thing, I'm like, okay, so this is the beginning of the terrorist attack that he's going to do. So now I'm thinking, now everything that's happening after this, I'm like trying to figure out how that plays into the anthrax, and it never does.
No, not at all.
So I'm like, okay, he's stealing this Ferrari, and he called a prostitute. Okay, where's this gonna go? Then he picks up a guy in a red beanie. I don't know who this guy is. He gets in the car. They park in a parking lot. The prostitute he calls comes up to distract the guy. Then Neil Breen shoves a needle in the dude's neck. Who is this guy? Why is this happening? Who knows?
And then you're like, maybe this is the contract?
Yeah, you're like, okay, this is the terrorist guy, right?
Yeah.
That he's supposed to be stopping, even though he just started his own terrorist attack 5 minutes ago?
Has he gone crazy yet?
Or is this the guy he's supposed to be assassinating? So then he goes to show the CIA that he's got him?
Yeah,
something?
I'm just going to drive around with this dead guy in the front seat. And I love how it's like, aha, and they're like, who is that? And he does this Scooby-Doo thing where he takes his beard and his mustache. He's like, aha.
Like, uh-oh, it was Old Man Jenkins.
There's Old Man Jenkins down at the pool.
But what happens with that guy? Does anything happen to that guy?
They never show him getting rid of him or anything.
Because then the next scene, he's going on another anthrax deal with the CIA or something.
And I love what they do when they all like meet up and they got their guns pointed at each other. I love what he does.
They stand 1.5 feet from one another, yeah. Like they're almost hugging each other.
And then he drops one of the needles or something, or the vials, and he's like, "Oh no!"
Everybody run.
And then he just picks everything up.
Yeah, so he drops the anthrax, but then there's also a gunfight off screen. And then he gets the other anthrax, and I'm like, was this part of the plan? But then he gives the anthrax to the CIA?
So they're like, oh, yeah, you can take credit for it. Why does he care? He doesn't like the CIA.
And then he leaves, and I'm like, wait, what happened? What was the... So then he goes. So immediately after that, he's on his 5 laptops again, and he's talking about planning his terrorist attack. Even though I thought when he rubbed anthrax on a guy's arm, that was an attack. What was that about then?
I maybe it was like, I don't know. I feel like it was something that was supposed to be at the end of the movie, and they're like, well, we're gonna put it somewhere.
I feel like this movie was edited out of order,
or it was not edited. They're just like, whatever order we shoot in, that's just how it happens.
That's the order of the movie. Then he's running through the desert again. He sneaks into a cave where he points 2 airsoft guns at nothing and kills like 2 people off screen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, was this the assassination? What was this?
Just killing people to kill them, I guess.
But who were they? We don't even see them.
No explanation why he did it. Were they there to kill him? But then his force field would have done that. Now, why didn't the force field just kill the CIA agents and those other bad guys? Can he turn it on and off at will?
Does it work while he's driving, or does he have to be in park?
Is it magic?
What happened to the rock?
Maybe if he has the rock on him, it disables the force field?
So then we cut back to his car, where he puts on a sleeveless denim shirt.
Oh, here's
that has
stolen valor.
That has all of his military medals on it, and he starts going over all of the decorations he has.
I like how he puts the medals on a jean jacket.
Yeah, like I said, a sleeveless denim shirt. Like, why? First of all, why that? Second of all, if there was ever a man that needed sleeves, it's Neil Breen. And then that goes nowhere. Also, why are we an hour and 10 minutes into this and we're still getting character exposition? Why is he telling us this now? The movie's almost over.
I like how he says he has the Medal of Honor, too.
So then this is where my notes get really short and sporadic because I could not wait to finish.
Couldn't deal with it anymore, so let's wrap it up.
So here we go, wrapping it up quick. He finds out the little girl still has brain cancer, so the rock wasn't magic, I guess. Then all of a sudden he's crying because he's an American attacking America and he's feeling bad about that. Then he runs into the desert screaming. You literally see him like run a mile.
That's the acting. I'm not making it up. That's that's his actual screaming.
Yeah, and you just hear him do that until he's too far from the microphone to pick up his sound. Then he I think he's gonna kill himself, and he cuts his arm, but he doesn't cut his wrist. He cuts like the back of his elbow,
and then he takes out some implant or something. I don't know,
which is never explained. Then he goes to meet someone in Vegas, and while he's doing that, he finds a tracking device on the bottom of his shoe. It's just stuck on his shoe with gum. But we never see him meet this person, so I don't know if that happens. Then he's in the desert again, where he trips and falls and cuts his arm. Then the ghost of his girlfriend shows up and heals his arm. Then he decides he doesn't want to do the attack, so he warns the government, and they prevent it. But then the attacks happen anyway. And also, he's still going to attack Vegas. then back in the desert, then he finds the magic rock again.
In his tuna can?
In his tuna can. And then he runs up a mountain, and he starts carrying his girlfriend down it. So you're like, so the magic rock brought her back? But then it cuts back to no, she's dead. Then it's intercut with his dead girlfriend, who might be back because of the magic rock, is alive. And then... But then there's also the kids' version of them are there, and they're like holding the hands with their kids. Then he takes a rock and he breaks his laptops, and then the movie's over.
It makes perfect sense.
And all of that I said, I skipped over nothing. That's the order it happened in. And that is what happened.
Great. So that was that movie. Did you come up with this? Who came up with this one?
What do you mean came up with this? I'm not Neil Breen. Neil Breen came
we were going
up
to watch this.
Oh, I did, because I always decide.
No, you do not.
This was insane. This was like a fever dream. Well, okay, so now that we're done, go into your review and give us your rating. It's you didn't hate it, it's a good party movie, it's a good hangover movie, or you hated it.
Yeah, so I hated it. So there's a couple reasons, actually. First off,
there are, really.
I couldn't understand it at all, so that's usually a killing point for a movie. The acting was, I can't even say subpar, just like normal human. I wouldn't talk to another person this way. And like,
if a person came up to you and was talking to you like this, you would think that they were like joking or
right. Yeah,
we're like having a stroke.
Yeah, so I couldn't follow it, and I mean it's bad. My wife can pretty much watch anything, and she watched this with me this morning, and she couldn't deal with it. So that's how you know it's bad. And so we're watching this movie, and I'm like, all right, so maybe it'll pick up. Like we said, you watch the first 10 minutes, and you're like, okay, we get it, But no, he doesn't think we're going to get it. He keeps going, and it just keeps talking, and I couldn't deal with it, and somehow I made it through this, and I was wondering how you were going to make it through it. So what was your idea of the movie? And if you want another suggestion, I don't even have one. Go watch X-Files or something.
Go watch TV. Anything
TV. Else but this. There you go. Go watch Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
So, it's weird, because I hated it, but it's also a, like, you gotta see it to believe it kind of movie.
Don't watch the whole thing, though.
Like, this could be a party movie. You could put this on with some pizza and some beer and some friends and watch this. Because it's almost like, I described it, but there's no actual way to understand how bananas this movie is without actually experiencing it yourself.
You mentioned
It's crazy. Like, there are so many of these plot points that are brought up and given such attention and built to be so important that you think this is what the movie will be about, or this will be a turning point in the movie, i.e. an old man gives you a magic rock. But then they never come up again, or are never explained, or both. Like, the thing with the parents being angels, and it's insane. Like, you start to feel like you're crazy. Like, you're watching it and you're like, well, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I
don't get it.
I don't get it. Maybe I don't get it. Because you're like, there's no way that this is supposed to be like this.
Well, and I love how you say, "Oh, put it on at a party," and like your friend come over, like, "So this is like your home movie you shot when you were in Nevada? Is this like a family vacation or something?"
You gotta see it to believe it. I don't want to recommend this, but if you listen to this and you're like, "This can't be that bad," then I dare you to try.
Just get through Try to get through the first half hour.
And the first half hour will seem like the beginning of a movie
where
you're like,
any
minute now,
nope,
the movie's going to
start.
Movie. That's the whole friggin' thing. Woo!
And I thought, if you've seen the only other movie that even, I didn't even say comes close, but has a long opening, if you watch the first Lord of the Rings movie, The Fellowship of the Ring, there's a lady in the beginning that talks for like 15 minutes. And that's the closest I've ever seen anyone just talking at the beginning.
And even that seemed ungodly long.
Of course, and this, exactly, and this is just, So, anyway.
Well, I guess we're done. If you want to send us any questions, comments, concerns, or hate mail, you can certainly do that at our email at moviehotdog@gmail.com. We have a Twitter at moviehotdog. We have a YouTube channel where all of these episodes are up there. If you want to subscribe and comment there, that's Zach space hot dog, I think.
That is what it is, yeah.
I think. We have a Facebook. Please like us, send us messages, comments, all that shit. This movie was a hot dog. If you get this on iTunes, please rate and review and subscribe, as it really helps the show. And get ready for next week. That's our 50th episode. Huzzah. Francis, do you have anything to say?
No, I don't have anything else.
Why don't you take us out then?
And well, for Reverend Zach, once upon a time there was a podcast. I'm going to elaborate on it for... Never mind. This is Frank-cis saying this movie was a hot dog.